Father! What you crying for?
Don't lie down.
But Father, I'm alive, see? And I'm real. I'm a real boy.
You are a real boy. This calls for a celebration.
Adrian is basically a reporter on steroids. He is a complete freaking animal. Those were the words longtime Knicks reporter Frank Isola used to describe Adrian Wojnarowski. Now, if you're watching this video, you likely know who Woj is. You might even have your notifications on for the next bomb to drop. At over 6 million followers, he's widely regarded as one of the best reporters out there, if you can even call him that. He's gotten to this position of prominence through hard work, yes, but also his ability to develop and maintain relationships with very important people. The developing relationships part is honestly critical in any career path, as networking with the right people is how a lot of opportunities often arise. Woj has a very calculated approach with this, as his ties to the San Antonio Spurs organization are very well documented. I mean, the Spurs have a lineage tree that connects to several coaches and GMs all across the league. One of those is Sean Marks, the GM for the Brooklyn Nets, who Woj has maintained a very close relationship with. And it's the maintaining relationships part where things start to get a little shady. Last year, when Kevin Durant went public with his trade demands and displeasure for the Brooklyn Nets organization, Woj was strangely quiet on reporting on the situation. Pretty weird considering how big a story it was. But the reason became pretty clear when you consider Woj not wanting to report on a story that makes his buddy Sean Marks look bad. But fine, you can argue he doesn't have to report on every single story, but what he shouldn't do is flat out tell lies that completely shift the dynamic of the trade market and create more leverage for a team. This is exactly what happened a year prior when James Harden also asked out of Brooklyn, and it was Woj and only Woj who, while stating that the Philadelphia 76ers were highly motivated to acquire James Harden, there was actually no talk between the two teams. And this is the complete opposite of what every other media member was saying at the time. So I'd say it's a safe assumption that Woj was simply acting as a mouthpiece for Sean Marks and the Brooklyn Nets. He would send out these false stories to the public in order to create the narrative that the 76ers package was not good enough, and therefore driving up the price to help his buddy Sean Marks. And I believe this is exactly what we're seeing with the Damian Lillard Miami Heat situation. While most of the national media generally isn't happy to see Dame's sole request to join the Miami Heat, which is a whole other hypocritical topic. I have a deep dive Bill Simmons video on that, so go check that out if you're interested.
How is that any different?
But most outlets can at least admit that Dame is most likely going to end up in Miami. Well, most outlets outside of Wojnarowski. You have Chris Haynes, who is Damian Lillard's go-to reporter, constantly saying things like,
do you think that he's just so set on Miami that there's no...
Miami style.
Are you moving?
Miami.
Even Woj's biggest rival in NBA reporting, Shams Charania, has the stance, there remains a strong belief that Damian Lillard to the Miami Heat remains the most likely outcome. Yet, you'll still have Woj telling you.
And I think for Portland, they're motivated to wait this out and continue to see how do we get the most back for Damian Lillard.
The difference in reporting between Woj and all the other national writers is clear evidence to me that he's just a puppet for Joe Cronin and the Portland Trailblazers. A statement confirmed by Dan Le Batard last week.
Well, thank you for bringing up Woj.
But he's had bad looks.
Well, the Heat know that he is just agenda-based, shilling and bought and paid for by Portland. Like, it's embarrassing that Woj is telling people it might be weeks or months.
And this is a problem to me. A guy who's supposed to be a credible reporter sharing news is instead sharing false info and propaganda that can sometimes have a league-altering effect. Another reporting rival of Woj, who many of you may know, is Brian Windhorst. This is a statement by him on how much Woj can impact trades.
You know how you sometimes need a third team to make a deal work?
Yeah, that's
sometimes you need Woj to make a deal work. Honestly, and I'm not even kidding here. This is not false flattery. I'm being 100% real.
Sometimes you need Woj to make a trade work. A reporter, in my opinion, that's something that should never happen. One supposed unbiased man should not have this much leverage over the league. He should not have this much power in controlling the national narrative. People go to the news for actual reporting, not some puppet spewing lies just to maintain his friendships. And it's how far Woj is willing to go to maintain his relationships that's actually concerning me. In 2010, the league noticed a repetitive problem in which internal league information kept getting leaked out. The information was meant for NBA front offices only, but somehow the media kept getting their hands on it. So the NBA actually ran a sting operation over the next several months where they changed this small piece of info in all the documents they sent to each team. That way, when the information got leaked, they knew exactly which team had the rat. And sure enough, a pattern developed. The team that kept leaking information was the Detroit Pistons, and the rat was Adrian Wojnarowski. Pistons GM Joe Dumars was fined $500,000 as a result of the investigation. Now, Joe Dumars confided in Woj after years of Woj sunshine pumping the Detroit Pistons, although they were one of the worst in the entire league. And it was also around this time that Woj littered his Yahoo Sports page with irrational hit pieces on LeBron James. Why? Well, because LeBron was always beating up on the Pistons, but also because Woj had no sources within LeBron's camp. It was Brian Windhorst who had the in with LeBron, and Wojnarowski didn't like that. His hatred for LeBron carried over to his Miami days, and his dislike for the Miami Heat was a byproduct of him having no sources in their organization either. And that brings us to today, where Woj is still acting as a front office puppet, but this time for the Portland Trailblazers. Now, I should say Woj and Chris Haynes have had similar reports of late of there not being ongoing negotiations between the Miami Heat and Portland Trailblazers, but that seems to be more coming from Portland's side and their unwillingness to negotiate with Miami or any other team. But we'll just have to see how that situation plays out when training camp gets closer. But that's all I got for this video, y'all. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you are one of the Portland fans that's in my comments, I'm sorry, that's just salty. But hey, this is a Heat fan, man. I'm giving a Heat fan's perspective here. But if you did enjoy this one, you can also leave it a like. That really helps the algorithm push this out to more people, and the more people that see this, the better. So I do greatly appreciate the support. And if you did not enjoy the video, man, I guess you could dislike, because I can't really tell you what to do. But either way, I'll see y'all next time. Peace out.
Look, pull up in your city tryna get that dead face. Do it on my own, I don't need no dead weight. Had to kill him off, yeah, I need a head space. You know this homegrown bitch don't offend me.